Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. And if some of you remember, a few videos ago, I did something where I ranked every Kanye album. And so I decided, since it got quite a lot of views, at least for me it got a lot of views, and people have told me they want me to do it again, I decided why not, and so today we are going to be ranking every Kid Cudi album. Now, before I start the video, I'm just gonna say this is all, of course, my opinion, and my opinion will probably change over time, so this isn't gonna be like set in stone. Maybe one day in the future I'll make an update video giving a new ranking, but just this is my opinion, and also this isn't gonna be a tier list video like for the Kanye one. I'm just gonna talk about the album and give it a ranking out of 10 because I felt like that was better. Instead of putting them against each other, I just decided to give them their own rankings so I could also go a little bit more into depth about it. Now, I do have to say, before I actually started listening to all the albums, I was very excited because I always thought that I would really like Kid Cudi's music, but after listening to all 7 albums on Spotify, I have to say I am a little bit disappointed. That's not me saying like, oh, he's terrible, nobody should ever listen to him. I think most of his music is good, but I just thought I was gonna really like all of the songs and love every album. But I have to say, I definitely did not love every album. I think really his best albums are the 3 Man on the Moon ones, but I think that's common knowledge. Maybe I don't really know a lot of Kid Cudi fans, but I think those are definitely his best albums. And the other albums that aren't part of the Man on the Moon, like trilogy, I don't know what to say. I guess trilogy is the word, but that's really more for movies. But I'm just gonna say it from now on, cause I don't know, it sounds good to me. But I think the other 4 albums that aren't part of the Man on the Moon series, I think they're okay. I don't know. I'll talk about this more in a second, but I think most of his songs kind of just sound the same, really. They're all basically the same, but some of them I think do it really well. I think just some of the songs he makes are just like amazing, and the rest are just like, oh, it's Kid Cudi, it's fine, it's not bad, but it's okay, it's whatever. Would I choose to listen to this again? Probably not. I'd rather listen to others of his songs. But, if it does come on, I'll listen to it. Why not? I won't skip it. But anyways, let's just get on to the first album. Kid Cudi's first album is Man on the Moon, The End of Day. And I have to say, this is probably my favorite of all of his albums. I really liked it. I think Up Up and Away is probably the best song on it, and is one of my favorite Kid Cudi songs. I think it's just really good. Also, like Pursuit of Happiness and Soundtrack to My Life. I think this song has a lot of good ones. It's a great start. I think it does everything really well, and I think if you didn't really want to listen to all of Kid Cudi's albums, but you did want to kind of get into him, I think this is a good start. Like, it's not bad. It's obviously not amazing, but I think it has enough really good songs to just put it as my favorite, or at least my top 3. I think it's definitely, but I'm pretty sure this is probably my favorite. But I am going to give Man on the Moon 1, The End of Day, an 8 out of 10. Now, originally, when I first listened to it, I was gonna give it like a 6 or a 7, maybe. But then as I listened to it a lot more, because I re-listened to it, I didn't just want to do one listen and then be done with it. I have to say I really liked it a lot more the second time, and it's just really good. It's a solid start, but I do have to say I don't really think he holds this same momentum going forward. I think it all kind of drops off. Not saying after this everything just sucks and it's not worth it. I'm just saying I don't think this he is able to sustain this level of, oh, this is amazing, for his next albums to come, but we'll talk about that later. Kid Cudi's next album is Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager. Now, I have to say, this was probably the one I was most excited for, or at least, I don't know about most excited for, I was just really excited for this one. and obviously I haven't listened to any of the songs before it, but I did listen to Mr. Rager, and it's one of my favorite songs. I love that. It's such a beautiful song. But I have to say, I don't think this album is as good as the first Man on the Moon, obviously. And I'm not saying that this sucks. I do think it's really good. But this is also where we start to like fall off with the next few albums. At least to me, I really didn't like them that much. I just thought they were boring, or like just not my vibe, not like what I like to listen to. They're just weird, but we'll talk about that later. I do have to say, Erase Me Main on this album is probably my favorite Kid Cudi song. I just love that song so much, but I do have to say, I don't really like Kanye West part on it. As I listen to it more, it grows on me, but I think that song would be perfect if Kanye West wasn't on it. And now, of course, all y'all rabid Kanye fans, don't attack me. I do think it's good. I just think the song would have been better off without it. But anyways, I'm going to give Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager, a 7 out of 10. Like I said, I do think it's really good. I don't think it's better than the first one, but I still think it's a solid start, and it is a very good album. His next album is Indie Cud, and I have to be honest, this is not good. This isn't the worst in my opinion, but I do have to say it is one of the worst albums of his. But that's not to say that all the songs on it are bad. I do think it has some good songs like King Wizard, Red Eye, Cold Blooded, Immortal, but those are really the only songs I liked off of this album. It just wasn't really something I liked listening to. It was kind of like, I don't know really how to explain it. I just didn't like it at all, I have to be honest. And it's just weird, but I also don't think it's his worst album. Definitely, we'll talk about his worst album later. But I don't know really why. I just can't put the words right now. And I know you're probably gonna be like, oh, this guy's such a bad reviewer. He doesn't even know why it's bad. It's just bad. I just didn't like it. And what I can tell is that other people didn't really like it. I did look it up just to see if other people liked it or if I was just stupid. But I'm pretty sure not a lot of people like this album either. So there's that. At least I'm not the only one. Okay, now just a quick little note. I decided to look this up, and apparently I was completely wrong. I just went on Kid Cudi's Reddit and asked and found a post about Indie Cud, and apparently people did like it. So I don't know what I saw, if I'm just making stuff up, but I don't know why. I think it was just different to me. I didn't really like the sound. It was kind of like Yeezus, and I still don't like Yeezus, but it has come around to me just a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit. I would probably give it like one bump. Like, I think last video I gave it a D, maybe like a low C now, but I think it was just different, and I don't like change. I don't know, I'm very basic. I like his older stuff more. I don't know why I said older. This is like a complete boomer take. I'm just going off right now. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just get on to the rating for this. Now, I didn't really like Indie Cud, but I don't think it's the worst. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Maybe I'll bump it up to a 5. I don't really know. I guess I'd have to listen to it again, seeing that other people did like it. I have only listened to it once, so I'll listen to it again, and maybe that'll change my opinion. If I do change, then I'll put it in the comments below. But let's just get on to the next one. His next album is Kid Cudi Presents Satellite Flight: The Journey to Mother Moon, and I have to be honest, this is probably my least favorite Kid Cudi album. I just didn't like it. I didn't like what it did. I didn't like the songs. I think there are really only... Actually, no. Looking at it now, I have to say I didn't like any of the songs on it. Like, I didn't really add them to my main playlist. I didn't even add them to like my secondary playlist, which I add the like good songs that I want to listen to again. I just think this album is really forgettable, and I've never heard anybody talk about it. This was something like when I was going through his discography just to look at all the albums that I just found out, and I've met some Cudi fans, but I've heard of Indie Cud before, but I've never heard of this one. And so I just think it's forgettable. I don't like it at all. I probably won't listen to it again, But I do have to say, I think the cover art for it is really cool. It's awesome, but yeah, I just didn't like it at all. So I'm gonna give Satellite Flight a 2 out of 10. This is definitely my least favorite, but I just think it's forgettable. I don't think the songs are good, really, but of course, this is just my opinion. I also went to see if people liked it, and apparently people did. People saying it's underrated, but they are saying that nobody talks about it and it's forgettable, which I think is my big point of this. It's just nothing really new, at least to me. Okay, this next one is probably going to be a little controversial. If the Kid Cudi fans haven't already clicked off the video, they're probably going to do it now. This next album is Speeding Bullet to Heaven, and before I say anything about this, I've heard that this is the worst Kid Cudi album. A lot of his fans don't like it, and I can agree with that, but I also don't think it's the worst. I think it is okay. Now, I think a lot of the songs are bad, and I won't listen to them again, but I do have to say there are some of the songs, like, he has some songs on there that are like, this isn't that bad. I think some of them are really good, to be honest, but I still think, like, those really good songs aren't enough to carry this album any higher than what rating I gave it. It's just weird. Like, when I was listening to this, I was like, what is he trying to do here? So I looked it up, and apparently, I could be wrong, so take this with a grain of salt, but apparently this is like a grunge type like album, and I was like, oh, it's not for me. Obviously, I don't like that type of stuff. I have to say, some of them, I don't remember which song this was, but one of them made me like really anxious, because it was kind of like, I could be wrong here, but it was something weird. It was kind of like a heartbeat, and I don't know which one it was, but it was just like, oh, this is kind of weird to listen to. I didn't really like it. But anyways, you guys are, if I keep talking about this, you're just gonna be like, oh, you're gonna hear the same thing. Oh, it's not good. It's pretty bad. But this might surprise some of you guys. I'm gonna give Speeding Bullet to Heaven a 5 out of 10. I think this is middle of the road. It's not good, but I think it does have some good songs on it. I will be honest. Maybe, you know what? Actually, no. Thinking about this, I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 10. I don't know what I was thinking about 5 out of 10. I just like had a moment of clarity. This is getting a 3.5 out of 10. I was gonna say 4, but I was like, that's a little generous. But anyways, let's just go on to the next one. His next album is Passion, Pain, and Demon Slain, and I have to be honest, I was so excited for this album. This was probably the most excited I was for any of his albums. I know I said it might have been Man on the Moon 2, but now thinking about it, it was this one. Because before I listened to it, I remember hearing Love by Kid Cudi. That was, I don't think it was ever like officially released. I'm pretty sure like he released it on Spotify for this album, and I love that song. That song is amazing, but sadly it's not on Spotify, which really sucks, and that made me kind of disappointed in this album. But even just discounting that, I didn't really like this album that much. I thought a lot of the songs were average. They were nothing new. They were just like basic, oh, I'm sad because I broke up with my girlfriend, basic songs like that. And that kind of made me think that, a lot of Kid Cudi songs are like this. They're all kind of basic heartbreak songs, like sad songs. I know I'm not hating. I do like sad songs, but I just think none of these are really like new, but I think they're still good. I think they might be basic, they might be a little boring, but they're still fine. And I think this album is just average, I'm not gonna give it like a 5 out of 10 because I don't think it's like that average. I think it's still a little bit worse, but I'm gonna give Passion, Pain, and Demon Slain a 4 out of 10 because, like I said, it's nothing new really. I was like, oh, this is just basic Cudi, and like it's not even that good either. It's just like a little less than average Kid Cudi, But let's get on to the next one. Okay, here we go. This next album is Kids See Ghost. Now, I rank this in the Kanye one. I think I gave it a C, and I decided, you know what? I wasn't going to listen to it, but I was like, hey, I might as well. I'll listen to it again. It's only 23 minutes long, and I listened to it. So far, I listened to it 3 times. I give it 2 more shots, and I still don't think it is this amazing, like, gift from God himself. I do think it's better. I will have to say my opinion has changed. I do like it more than I liked it last time, but I don't think it's his best. It's definitely not his best, but I do have to say it is a lot better than I originally said it was. So I will admit I was wrong in that Kanye video. So I'm going to change my ranking. I think in the Kanye one I gave it a C, but in my like notes I think I wrote down like a 4 maybe, or maybe like even a 5. But now I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10 because I do think it's a lot better. I still don't like it that much. I do have to say I do like Feel the Love, Cudi Montage. I do really like those songs. I know last time I said the only good song is Reborn, but I have to say I was wrong. I think it is a 6 out of 10 album. It's definitely not his best. It's definitely not Kanye's best either, but it is pretty good. I'll be honest. It's good. Okay, so let's get on to the final album. Kid Cudi's final album, at least as the time I'm recording this, is Man on the Moon 3, The Chosen. Now, I have to say, this is my favorite album. I know I said it's either this or the first Man on the Moon are my favorite albums of his, and I just think this album is really good. Now, I have to say, I did listen to this before, recently, but I only listened to like the first 5 songs, and I have to say I didn't really like it that much, so I just kind of like was like, this is not for me. I'm just gonna go listen to something else. But I actually sat down, I listened to all of it, and I have to say it is so much better than I thought it was going to be. I do have to say it is very bottom loaded. That means like a lot of the better songs, at least for me, are in the bottom half, which is probably why I clicked off in the beginning, because like some of the songs in the beginning, except for Tequila Shots obviously, are like they're fine, you know, they're nothing special. But I do think this album has a lot of great songs on it, like Solo Dolo Part 3, Lovin' Me, Rockstar Night, For the Kids, and just, I'm not going to name all of the ones I really liked, but those are just some of them. I do think this is probably my favorite. I know I keep saying that. It's either this or the first Man on the Moon, of course. I don't really know where I'd put them. I'd probably put this one just a little bit higher than it, but I'm still going to give Man on the Moon 3, The Chosen, an 8 out of 10. I still think it's really good. It is my favorite, and I just really liked it. I don't really know what to say. I think it's great. I think it's a good representation of what Kid Cudi is, and I think if you don't really like Kid Cudi's music, you should definitely listen to this album, because I think it does a good job of showing his music at like its peak. And on a little side note, I think the cover art is beautiful. It is literally amazing. It's so cool, and I really, even though it's not my favorite album ever, and I probably wouldn't listen to it, I do kind of want it on vinyl just to look at the cover art. Now that is the cryptic official ranking of the Kid Cudi albums. I do have to say, they aren't, I was gonna say they aren't good, but that's not true. I think some of them are really good, but I do have to say, I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I thought I was gonna like this album, or not this album, all of these albums so much. I thought Kid Cudi was now gonna be like my favorite artist ever, but he's not. I have to say, I'm sorry if some of you are like crying right now because your favorite streamer and YouTuber doesn't like Kid Cudi, but I still think he's good. I will listen to his next album whenever it comes out, and I am glad I did this. You know, I'm always excited to listen to new artists and new albums I've never heard before, and so put in the comments of what other artists you want me to listen to. I'll do another video like this, probably not as long, because I see this is around like 20 minutes, which is very long. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Remember, like, subscribe, go follow my Twitch, twitch.tv/cryptic587, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.